me about Sly Cooper.
Well, Sly Cooper is a thief, and he's a different type of thief. He's cool, he's tough, but he's got to be lovable at the same time. And he's also a really good-looking guy, and he has a sexy voice. Just... I would say he's the master of all thieves, and I still think he has a sexy voice. Wow.
A charismatic, cunning thief who works with his lifelong friends.
He's very cunning, very dashing, but kind of cocky and very sure of himself. If the Coen brothers had made a cartoon, it would be Sly Cooper. He's also one of the best modern interpretations we have of a gentleman thief.
You know, what is it, like sticky fingers? You know, he's good with the pickpocketing. He's like silver-tongued. You know, he's super handsome. He's got like that perfect smile that's just like super punchable.
He's definitely what I feel like everyone who played those games when they were 12 wanted to be.
Sly's kind of that cool kid in school that you always wanted to be friends with, but you never quite knew. You might have like tried to imitate his style or something. I know I kind of did. I thought that I wanted to be cool like him and everything.
Maybe a little bit of a romancer.
Is sort of a Robin Hood type who, even though he's a criminal, he's doing it for the greater good and he only steals from bad people.
One cunning, devious Raccoonus.
An ideal mascot.
It is a video game franchise truly like no other. It combines fun, innovative gameplay with unique and growing characters that can be enjoyed by everyone.
A little bit of Batman the Animated Series, noir, comic books, animation, furries.
Ultimately, for me, Sly Cooper is a game that you run around and break and steal things in order to make your ancestors proud.
Nostalgic.
Everything that made me happy growing up in the early 2000s.
Like so many voiceover gigs, my first memory of Sly Cooper is a piece of paper like this with a picture of him, probably that big, I think running off to the side, and then some descriptions of him. And none of the logo, none of the stuff. That was it, like Sly Cooper. Some cool guy that I wish I would get to know. And I remember thinking, they'll probably cast somebody really cool to be this guy. And they were wrong. They cast me.
I had a neighborhood friend. He actually had a copy of Sly 3, and that is how I was introduced to Sly. I actually played the trilogy in reverse order.
When I was over at a friend's house in grade 2 or so, in the background, her brother was playing Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, and he was specifically playing the boss fight with Miss Ruby. I just memorized that Sly Cooper had the Miss Ruby boss fight. A couple years later, in a discount bin, I saw Sly 3, and I was like, Sly, I remember that. That's the one that had that rhythm game that was really cool. And played through the whole thing, and I loved it. But I was a little disappointed that it didn't have the Ms. Ruby boss fight.
My parents were having friends over, family friends, and they were also bringing kids that I knew and were close friends with. And they were gonna sleep over. And one of the kids who I wasn't really close with, he brought like a briefcase almost, and it had his PS2 and just all these different games in just the foldable like CD like cases. And one of them was Sly 2 Band of Thieves. And then he left, but he didn't remember that Sly 2 was in my PS2. He didn't take it out, and he forgot. He just thought he had it with him. And I just kept it.
While playing Crash 2 with my mom, I spilled chocolate milk on my PS1. And so I guess we upgraded from that. And with that came a bunch of games, and one of them that caught my eye was Sly Cooper. Just fell in love with the games after that. And so did my mom, actually. She actually watched me play all of the games as they came out. The games always came out a day before or a day after my birthday. So it was always the best birthday gift to get, and just became an obsession ever since then.
Funny enough, actually, I was inside of a Walmart, that the little games kiosk there where they usually set up demos and everything. And I had no idea what the game was. It was just in there in the middle. I just picked it up, started playing it. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I kind of like this.
My first memory of Sly was actually picking up the box of Sly 2 in the store. And I loved raccoons as a little kid, so I saw a raccoon on the cover and I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to play this. And they looked at it and they saw the 2 on it and they were like, no, that's the second game in the series. You have to play the first one first. So they bought me the first one.
One day I saw that they had Sly 3. This is my copy as a kid. They were selling it at a local tech/furniture store, and I begged my mum to buy it for me, and I still have it.
Christmas 2002, my grandma gets me and my brother a PlayStation. She says it's more for my brother, according to him.
Playing Sly 2, Christmas Eve with my cousins.
My first memory of Sly wasn't from playing the actual games. It turned out to be from playing Ratchet & Clank 3, which included a demo of Sly 2 on it. I have vivid memories of playing that demo over and over again. It only had 3 missions on it, but I would find different ways to play it and look for all the small details included.
I think that me and my brother probably played that demo about as much as we played the like Ratchet and Clank.
Playing Sly 2 first, and then playing the game normally up to level 3, that 3rd episode, and then getting stuck there, and then finding out that there's cheat codes that let you skip the levels, and I thought, oh, I'll just use the cheat code to go to the next episode since I'm stuck here, and then doing that enabled me to be like, no, I'm just gonna skip to the end of the game.
Christmas 2003, where before then I wasn't really allowed to own video games, but Christmas 2003 was when my parents thought it was okay to give me and my sisters a PS2 bundle, which was my first video game system that we actually owned. And the bundle came with Gran Turismo 3, as well as Sly Cooper.
It was the moment that I realized that I could do Ms. Ruby's boss fight with my eyes closed.
I think it was probably my parents watching me do the dance minigame in Rajan's level, where you're dancing with Carmelita. I think that was what it was. And they were kind of confused. It was just kind of funny. I enjoyed the games. I just played them, just whatever. But they were kind of doing that typical parent thing where they were asking questions about what the heck are you doing and all that nonsense. So
I'll say in this moment, what I think is really memorable is when we recorded Sly 2, or maybe it was 3, up in Seattle at the recording studio there called Bad Animals. We went on a cruise through the sound right there on the water as a team, like with the clients and the sound studio, and we went for like a 2-hour little cruise together. There are little memories and connection points like that, working on a project really special.
Best memory was when I got Sly 3. It was the first Sly game that I had gotten myself, and it was also the game that I played without a memory card for the first 2 weeks of having a PS2.
The grapple cam is one of the single greatest inventions in any video game.
Up your nose with a rubber hose, and I remember when we heard that for the first time, and we were just dying, and it felt like we were laughing for hours.
Having my childhood best friend come over and we would just play through the levels, and then if we weren't playing it directly, we would be role-playing it and pretending to be each of the characters.
Playing it at recess with my one of my childhood friends, Allegra Gutierrez. She and I would pull off fake heists together. She would always take the role of Sly, and I would come up with some random villain that I was I just kind of make up some villain, some evil plot, and then she would run around the playground, the field, pretending to be Sly, picking pockets and stuff, and I would be twiddling my thumbs as some mustache-twirling evil villain waiting for her to come and fight me.
We used to play. We used to play pretend at the YMCA swimming pool. That the 3 of us were Sly, Bentley, and Murray on heists at the swimming pool. That was pretty cool.
Probably the reveal of Thieves in Time. I think that was my favorite memory because me and my friends at that time were just waiting for the next game to drop. And when that reveal happened, we were all just ecstatic. We were all really, really excited.
When I was waiting for the fourth game, Thieves in Time, to come out, and I was just I was online in the Sucker Punch forums, just talking to people, anxiously waiting for this game to come out, and nitpicking every single little media detail that was released, with just a bunch of random strangers online who also loved Sly just as much as me.
I come across the Second Funniest Podcast, hosted by Justin Worsham and the voice of Sly himself, Kevin Miller. And I become hooked. I am listening to the episode where they announced the game, the episode with Matt Olson and Chris Murphy. I called out sick. I told all my friends, look, I'm not coming to school. It was during Spirit Week, and I was supposed to participate in the Quiz Bowl, and I said, no. This is Sly Cooper. I'm taking the day off. I take the day off. My grandfather drives me up. My papa, he drives me up to the mall, and I go to the GameStop. The second they opened up, I was there, and I had the game in my hands, and I just couldn't believe it.
It would be the original Thievius Raccoonus. That's my favorite. You can't be a classic.
I can't. It's like, what's your favorite child? All of them are amazing for their own different reasons, and I'm honored to be a part of all of them. I think as a game aficionado, I think Sly 2 is a groundbreaking game. And laid the grounds for a lot of other great things. It was really challenging and incredible, but I can't say that it's my favorite. I think it's noteworthy. Noteworthy is a word.
Definitely Sly 2 Band of Thieves.
The great writing, well-defined characters. They all speak so straight, even though what they say is very absurd at a lot of the time. The color palette is also really good in 2. It's dark in some areas, but not too dark that you can't see what's going on screen. And it has some of the strongest villains in the series.
I feel like it's the most polished out of the games, and it kind of set the standard that Sucker Punch was going for with the missions. And I feel like it's basically Sucker Punch knew what they were doing by the second game. The jokes are great, all the missions are extremely fun, and it's just a very well-rounded installment in the series.
But it also revolutionized what the Sly Cooper series was. It started off with this great foundation in the first game, but through Sly 2 it was able to be built on and became something so much better.
Going through an episode of Sly 2 from start to finish was so, everything was so meticulously planned out. It was just so much fun to be a part of and play through every single time.
My favorite stretch of the entire series by far is Rajan's 2 levels and then the Contessa's 2 levels. To me, that is like the peak of video games where you have created art that is also a playable product that someone gets to experience, and interact with. So yeah, no, absolutely, that stretch of Sly 2 and Sly 2 in general is a masterpiece.
Personally, I would say 3 would have to be my favorite, as much as I hate to choose between my kids.
It was the first game I owned, and I sunk the most hours into this, and I still love everything about it. I know this game inside and out, and it has the most nostalgia for me, and it holds a very dear place in my heart.
Sly 3 is where they really came into their own. They really developed the identities of all the characters. I think identity is such a core aspect of the game, not only for Sly himself and all of his allies, but also the villains, who all get so much time to shine. Every level just reflects who they are as people, and it is so brilliant.
It does the best at capturing the idea of Sly Cooper, and it is the most refined format of the gameplay for Sly Cooper.
I guess I would have to say Thieves in Time. I know that's a little controversial, but I associate it with so many good memories, and it really helped me find my way in terms of my career of getting into 3D animation.
I have a lot of positive feelings with Sly 4. I just remember being so happy that Sly was coming back, and then I played it and I enjoyed it, which I know is not a popular opinion, but you know.
A little known character, not many people know about him, but I really like Sly Cooper. I think he's really good.
The main character, the best character, Sly Cooper himself.
He's a very Alexandre Jacob character. He's just so charming. He's a charming character.
I've always loved how snarky and sarcastic he is, and how he always has a comeback for people. And I love raccoons.
Yeah, Sly. 100% Sly. For the longest time, like, I didn't really have ambitions in life, and because of Sly Cooper, I literally wanted to be a master thief until I was like 16. You know, when they're sitting there like thinking about careers in school, I was sitting there like, I want to steal jewelry from a ball, you know, in a different continent or something.
My favorite character is probably Bentley, and that's because out of all the characters that are consistent throughout the series, he is the one that has like the most interesting character arc, I think.
Seeing him go from someone that like is hiding in the van the whole time to someone that is leading the charge by the fourth game, and you know, overcoming adversity by being paralyzed and being put in a chair and like saying like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna roll with this and I'm gonna build from this and I'm gonna really make something out of it so that I can still do what I want to do. And I think he really is, you know, the heart and soul.
I think as I got older, I started to appreciate Carmelita a bit more. I just think her personality and character is just really well-rounded. And it's just something that I feel like I overlooked at first, but started to like a lot more as I got older and played the games more.
I gotta say my favorite character has to be Panda King. I'm a sucker for redemption arcs.
Has to be Dimitri. He's just iconic. Every line out of his mouth is so perfect.
He is a true artist. He's just misunderstood, and nobody can beat his kinetic aesthetic.
Clockwork. I just think he's the perfect antagonist, and you spend so much of the first and even in the second game to just build up so much pressure and tension around the looming threat of Clockwork.
I think I like the villains most, like especially the Contessa and Ms. Ruby come to mind. I just find their story so interesting and fun, and also they're very pretty ladies.
Mugshot, not only like as a character from his design, is just so goofy and stupid and awesome, and he's got the personality, he's got that big mustache, he's got those giant stupid arms and the tiny legs, you know, they're dangling, he's walking like a gorilla. The boss itself is very basic, like PS2 platformer, you know, hit the mirrors, you know, it goes through crystals and ruins his airsoft guns. I don't get that. I never have.
Is Ruby's boss battle, again, just because it's so memorable to me and is the thing that originally brought me to the Sly Cooper series.
When I first played it, I couldn't do it at all. You know, it was something that took me years and years to finally get. And it's just that kind of satisfaction that I started with dying on the first thing, and then I could do it with my eyes closed.
The gauntlet at the end of Thievius Raccoonus, and going through Clockwork's final last stages.
I love playing Dimitri because the catchphrases, like the smart remarks throwing back at each other, are so funny, and I still know that like dialogue by heart to this day.
Jean Basson boss fight with Bentley is really, really good. It's everything that I want out of a good narrative boss fight, especially because it's just so cathartic to take down Jean Basson as Bentley. He's been calling Bentley stupid this whole time, and he gets outsmarted with his own logging equipment. Like, that's poetry.
I enjoyed that fight so much that it was my first time actually like trying to sequence break a video game. So it was my way of being able to fight Jean Basson as many times as I wanted.
The Don Octavio fight. I thought it was really cool rerouting all the oil to try and make that, for some reason, extremely limber old man get stuck in the middle of the plaza.
Don Octavio fight in Sly 3, especially because as a kid I was in love with Bentley, so I loved being able to play him singing and watch him sing that whole thing. It was just a lot of fun for me.
The opera battle is one of the most ingenious ideas in any game ever.
The Black Baron fight from Sly 3.
I mean, the General Sow is pretty good against the chicken. I enjoy that a lot.
I have an affinity for El Jefe's level simply because it's what got me all back excited to being a Sly fan.
It has spectacle, it looks great. It tests your abilities you had thus far. It's like it has a mixture of platforming and combat. You could tell it was like one of the first things they worked on. If you want to show somebody like what Sly's all about, you show them Paris.
Probably Paris in Sly 2, that opening level just sort of set the stage. But I also like the India stuff in Sly 2.
The palace from Starry-Eyed Encounter is just chef's kiss.
It is the Contessa's Castle, her second level.
I spent a lot of hours in that level. I absolutely love Gothic architecture, and I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. I have been ever since I was like a little kid. So that was really fun for me. And the music in that level is very final level Psychonauts-esque, so it's really pretty.
I always found the Canadian levels in Sly 2 very entertaining because I'm also from Canada, but I always thought it was really funny that all the guards that you talk to have like really thick Canadian accents.
Those missions are the most fun in episode 6 and 7.
Venice in Sly 3, first level.
I think I always loved Italy and Venice, especially with the boats, and I just think it's really, really cool.
Bloodbath Bay from Sly 3, the pirate level.
You have the ships. I always enjoyed the ship combat. That was always my favorite part of the game.
Like, you'd use it to farm money for gadgets, but even afterwards, I'd be like, dude, I just want to go sink ships and see how much I can take without, like, dying.
My favorite locations are tied between the Paris level in Sly 2 and the feudal Japan level in Sly 4. Both of those maps are so much fun to explore and to find all of the little details that went into how they were designed. And then, all these years later, I actually live in Japan, which is pretty cool to think about.
Gotta be Go West, Young Raccoon from Sly, Thieves, and Time. I remember playing that for the first time, you know, like first taking control of Tennessee Kid Cooper, using his guns, and I just had so much fun just rail grinding throughout the whole hub world, and then just like popping off shots at nearby guards, and with the awesome music playing in the background.
Is because of you. Look, I've been in other stuff. I've been in lots of games, not a ton, but I've been in other games. I've been in other projects. But this, people love Sly. The Sly community is like pretty hardcore and really eager for more and really eager to be together and to see their favorite raccoon do stuff. And there's such a mutuality among the Sly Cooper community of like a real determination to be together and positive and fun, and that love for Sly just comes out in really big ways. So that's what is so special to me. Like literally, you.
They are what inspired me to pursue art in a more looking glass way. I didn't really know what I liked about art until the Sly games came out. It's like a higher budget Hanna-Barbera. They're blocky but organic at the same time. That spoke to me as a kid that loved to draw. I think I speak for a lot of me and my friends who are artists when I say that was a huge inspiration for us of wanting to pursue game development or artistry in the first place. They gave me escapism at a time when I was little that I really needed. I really needed escapism from a bad situation in my home life.
They definitely shaped me as an artist growing up. In addition, I have made so many connections with people just through the love for this series.
The Sly series as a whole is a fun-filled adventure that anybody can enjoy, so it's transgenerational. I also feel like it helped define the PS2 console generation, which was arguably Sony's video game renaissance. The characters are lovable, the art design and the levels are beautiful, especially the shading. Everything is very, very vivid. I also just love the voice acting. It's so charismatic, and the gameplay is remarkable, and all of the missions are very creative. So it's just a classic series that just continues to age well because of all of that.
Sly Cooper was one of the first games I played that went a step further by still having fun gameplay and fun characters, but it was my first time seeing a video game where like characters would develop, the characters would grow. They'd sometimes deal with very heavy and mature topics.
So comedic but so emotional, and there are just so many parts that are also like really real, like with the Chinese levels in Sly 3. It's just emotions all across the board, and it will have you laughing and crying.
From the time I was 8, I think, when I got my hands on the first one, till I was 14, 15, I didn't really have any other games. So it was, every time I wanted to play a game, I played Sly Cooper.
But I'd like to give a special shout out to Kevin Miller for his love and dedication for the role of being the voice of Sly Cooper. I don't know another voice actor like him who is so welcoming to discuss the series and play through the games as a community, as equals, as most of us who played the games as children are now adults. All these years later, it still feels so familiar to when we would sit around the television playing games and discussing game trivia. I don't know another game that I can compare this experience to, especially 20 years later, and I just wanted to say thanks for that.
It has a special place in my heart. I really was never able to let go of that game, and to this day, I still try to push people to play the game series, even though it's over 20 years old now.
What's interesting about the way that I have come to terms with the Sly fandom within myself is that it's brought me into contact with a lot of really cool people.
I've met people because of Sly Cooper and being a fan of those games that I know to this day, that I've known people for 10 plus years because I met them in a fan group for Sly Cooper 10 years ago.
It's been special to have it be something that, you know, I grew up as a kid, just, you know, fun game to play, and now it's, you know, part of a legacy of some of the greatest relationships that I have ever had.
If Sly Cooper never came into my life, I can confidently say that I would not be anywhere near the person I am today.
My truly favorite things about being a fan of Sly Cooper and being a fan of any video game really is just knowing that it will always be there. You know, even if the franchise doesn't get a new entry for years to come, there's nothing stopping us from playing those 4 games whenever we want. There's nothing stopping us from sharing those with other people, with our children, with their children. And, you know, it will eventually outlive all of us, and we'll just continue to create new memories for new people. It'll always be there.
I think the best thing about being a fan of Sly Cooper is seeing the creativity of everyone online who posts their art, their stories, their music that has to do with the game.
Meeting the entire community. Meeting all the people that I didn't know knew about Sly until I found Kevin streaming on Twitch during COVID, like during the pandemic. And that's when I realized, oh my God, there's people that know what Sly Cooper is. That's crazy. It's only ever been me, my cousins, and my one friend, Bradley. Like, that's all I've ever known.
I am a fan of Sly. I'm as much the voice of it and a contributor to the creation of the project as I am a fan of it. Like, I genuinely like it. And I like the games. I like playing them. I stream them. I like the worlds that they build. So they mean a lot to me.
Getting to talk and meet to Kevin, actually, he's such a nice and sweet person. Like, he was the voice of my childhood, and, you know, Sly was my favorite character. And I like being able to interact with somebody who was such a formative shape on my childhood.
Meeting all of the amazing people I've met. I have had friends for over 15 years, some I've had for 10 years. I have gotten to meet so many amazing people and learn more about video games and the creative industry, and also voice acting, having spoken to Kevin before, and it's just been an amazing gateway into so many communities and so many social groups, and I've loved every part of it.
The friends I've made through Sly Cooper and bonding with them, as strange as the community can get, I love it too. It's very passionate, and it resonates no matter if you hate one entry, love another, so on and so forth. I think just the fact that so many people, despite not being a big group, are so passionate about the series just warms the cockles of my black dead heart.
A few years back, well, now many years back, ended up hopping on the Sucker Punch forums, and that is how I met my favorite folks now. These wonderful people. And I've known them for going on what now, maybe 12, 13-ish years, probably more.
I always thought that way back then that, you know, like if you ever made friends online, I started really making friends online in like 2007, 2008. I always thought that those were people that you would never actually meet in person. They'd just kind of be on the other end of the screen the entire time. And nonetheless, I have met in person a lot of these people that Sly has brought me into contact with.
The best thing about being a fan of Sly Cooper is that I got to meet most of all the wonderful friends that I have today.
I don't know what I would have, what I'd be doing without the friends that I have met.
You know, I feel like because of this game, it's really has built its own kind of like safe house of this incredible gang of friends, and I'm very happy to be a part of that.
I met Matt 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, on a podcast discussing Sly Cooper. And to this day, I have flown out to Chicago and stayed at his apartment to go and see wrestling pay-per-views like 4 times, you know, because I played a game about a raccoon that steals chocolate bars from trains.
When you look at them and you kind of realize that Sly was a person put into a bad situation, and he didn't let it turn him into a worse person. He found his literal adoptive brothers at the orphanage, and that's something all of us can connect with. I'm a fan of found families, something that that a lot of us in the fandom can really connect with. We found a lot of our families.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly Cooper.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly Cooper.
Happy birthday, Sly Cooper.
Happy birthday, Sly Cooper.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly.
Happy birthday, Sly!
Happy birthday, Sly. Happy 20th birthday.
La 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 la.
Free Sly from Egypt.